Today we're going to draw this wonderful pizza together. What makes it so great? First of all, it looks absolutely delicious. Secondly, the basil leaves, tomato slices, and this perfectly cut piece are all beautifully arranged. Overall, the pizza is very tasty and beautiful. It looks so appetizing you immediately want to draw. What do we need today? You'll need a pencil, an eraser, a gel pen or a fine liner, and importantly, watercolor paints along with rough watercolor paper. A brush. I'm using a size 4 sable brush with a pointed tip, water, napkins, and a palette or paper for mixing paints. Before we start eating it, let's sketch it first. Pizza is round. There's no need to draw a perfectly round shape. In fact, real pizza isn't always made perfectly round. The main thing is for it to be visually well composed with roughly equal space on the left and right sides. This is to prevent the pizza from sliding too far away and off the edge of the drawing. Next, we'll mark the cut piece by simply cutting out a triangle, just like this. And now I'm going to draw this particular shape, making it extend just a little bit beyond the edge of our pizza. There we go. Excellent. What else can we sketch out here right away? Let's scatter the tomatoes all over our pizza. Here's a tomato circle. Here's another and another here. I'm sketching them out as even circles like this. So, a circle here and another here. One can overlap another, that'll look really cool. Alright, another circle here as well. There is also a slice of tomato on it, and there are 2 slices here. And another one hides behind them. Excellent. We've scattered the tomatoes. Now we'll add a bit of basil. See how this leaf rests so nicely on top of our tomato? And this one here also looks quite good. Just one leaf going 2 ways. And the second leaf is lying here. Here, the leaf also curves beautifully. It's slightly curled. We'll draw it in later. Here's a leaf, and there's a leaf. Right here, by the way, yes, the basil leaves also look beautiful lying next to each other. There's one lying here as well. Alright, and on this piece too. We need to sketch in something tasty here. And you can also outline the crust right away. So, there's a piece of dough, and then there's where the cheese and sauce start. We immediately outline this edge with a slightly uneven organic line, and that's pretty much it for this stage. I take a liner and outline everything, drawing in the details. Alright, so the shape of our pizza is round. When I'm sketching, I always press hard on the pencil so you can clearly see what I'm drawing and how I'm doing it. In your case, you don't need to press hard on the pencil, so it'll be easier to erase it from our drawing later. Now, I'm drawing out the slice. Just like this. Here you can add a little bit of thickness just to clarify that it's not completely flat but has some volume. Excellent. Now I'm going to create this sauce border, but I'll show it using very small elements with delicate strokes and tiny intricate dots. So that visually it feels like it's not just a simple line of sauce, but rather some spices that have been sprinkled on top. We have these wavy, uneven lines here, creating the enticing texture of an appetizing pizza. And the situation is just the same here. Alright, I've just finished making the crust. Now you can start drawing each element in detail. I'll start with the tomatoes. So, here I have a round slice of tomato, just like this. I won't use the liner for very dark shading inside, but remember, this tomato has a core. And from it, the seeds radiate out. That's fine. You can sketch out a couple of these little seeds. And we should also add this particular kind of outline here. We'll show the fleshiness. So this is the seed pulp, what usually squirts out of a tomato, and this is its dense part. And that's how I draw each tomato, marking its core and the thickness of the tomato itself. I'm detailing the seeds, which really convey just how juicy this tomato is. You can depict each individual segment in the same way. All the tomatoes are drawn. Now we can draw the basil leaves. Actually, it's all pretty simple here. We look at the shape and try to capture it. Somewhere the central vein will be visible, somewhere you'll see the smaller veins, some leaves will be convex, and others, on the contrary, will have a bend. Alright, let's get started. This one is beautiful, with a curve, and its central line is clearly visible. You can see it on this green leaf too. Next to it is a more prominent leaf. It's really quite voluminous. And here it's also quite voluminous, the central vein. And it also has these cute little veins. I'm sketching these veins just a little bit. Not too much, but just enough so they're there. Here's a beautiful curled leaf. So I'm drawing part of the leaf, and from this point I'll round it off and draw the sharp tip right here inside our shape. And as a result, I have a leaf with a beautiful curve. Here it lies beautifully on our pizza and curves. Alright, this leaf here is also quite charming. It's naturally curved, almost like a tiny boat. We'll use paint to give it that boat-like shape. This leaf is beautifully convex. There's a center line and a few little veins. I'll also definitely sketch out a leaf here. It might not be fully depicted because this slice of pizza was cut off, so it's quite possible its shape is a little distorted here. You'll also find some really tiny leaves appearing here. Somewhere around here too, there's a small green one lying. And somewhere right here among the tomatoes. And the part outside the pizza will make it look nice too. Just like this. I draw the central line for the leaves, not quite in the middle. This makes it look as if it's lying in the other direction. And here again, a beautiful leaf with a curve is facing us. So what I'm doing here is curling it and drawing its form, showing precisely how it bends. Alright, we've finished outlining the pizza. Now you can go ahead and add some additional small pieces of extra deliciousness here and there. I suspect it's the mozzarella. It's spread out like that. So it's most likely a margherita pizza. So we're adding these small details and then we can move on to the color. Before we color the drawing, we'll remove all excess graphite with a special kneaded eraser. This is how we wipe it. Why do I use it? This eraser doesn't ruin paper. It's so soft, it doesn't rub the paper, but at the same time it picks up the excess pencil lead perfectly. That way, we get the effect we need. We've removed the pencil lid, but haven't damaged the paper. And watercolor will go on it nicely. Also, it's worth sketching a little more. This wood texture here, under the pizza, what do you need for that? Actually, nothing complicated. I just draw straight vertical lines. I slightly curve the lines, gently twisting them to create the illusion of a realistic wood texture. I apply this technique everywhere, all around the pizza, directly behind it, gradually adding this subtle effect bit by bit. Our goal isn't to fill the entire background with this texture. We're just creating the illusion that our pizza is lying on a wooden board or countertop. Just like this, all the way around the entire pizza. You can start coloring it in. Just a reminder, I'm using a size 4 sable brush. Based on our reference, let's see what colors I'll use. I'll definitely have a lot of ochre. This will be my dough. Ochre, somewhere in places with English red. Together, they'll give a beautiful effect of toasted golden dough. The wood and the pizza in the reference are very similar in color. The countertop, For the wood, I'll use 2 shades of brown, burnt umber and burnt sienna. If you don't have these shades, you can mix brown using yellow and red. I'll show you now. Yellow, red, and a drop of black. Just a tiny bit of black and you'll get... That's already too much black. You'll still get brown. Just be careful not to overdo it with the black, because it immediately makes the color very dark. For the tomatoes, I'll use a red heavily diluted with water. For our beautiful basil, a green, watery, dark green color. That's it basically, the color mixing is ready, we can start painting. I'll start with the wood. I'll make a nice wooden board around the pizza. It can be lighter on one side. Here at the top, it's a bit lighter, and then underneath the pizza, you can make it a little darker. The way I do this is by using long, watery brush strokes around the pizza, introducing vertical lines. This creates the specific effect of a wooden board. At the bottom, this effect can be a bit more condensed and solid. There's a shadow from our pizza on the countertop, and you can make it darker under each leaf on the countertop. While this paint is still wet and hasn't dried yet, you can apply a slightly richer color. And just like with the liner, draw a couple of lines. This way we create additional wood texture. Wonderful. So I'm going over the whole tabletop. Please note that here too we have the countertop. You can see it's wood, so we're painting it as well. And there I also did hatching with the liner. So here I do it like this. I'm making the upper part more transparent and the lower part more dense. Alright, let's go. Here's the beautiful wood texture I got. And now I can move on directly to our pizza. Just a reminder, for the test I'll use ochre and English red. I'll go over the crust, making it look appetizing and tasty. Ochre, lots of water, sometimes a lighter shade, sometimes more of the ochre itself. Thanks to this, we'll get a beautiful, appetizing crust. Feeling it, the dough has a nice color. While wet, I'll add English red to the pizza edge for a baked browned crust. The pizza is going to look wonderfully toasted. And I do the same with the second half of the pizza. Ochre. Here I have it watery, quite light. In some places you can add more ochre shade. Then I thoroughly rinse it with water. So here we take English red and now I'm adding the crust. We add the toasted crust. Done. There, perfect. Our pizza is voluminous, beautiful and toasted. Now we can move to the center and start coloring what's inside. The tomatoes. As for the tomatoes, let me remind you, I use red paint. And actually, what's important here? It's important that our tomato looks shiny, that it has white spots. You can mix red with a bit of orange to make the tomato look more natural. I'll even add a little bit of English red to get a darker shade. So, our tomato shouldn't be entirely colored throughout. The meatiest part of it, specifically this section here, should have a good color. And inside, between the seeds, we also color it in. However, we'll make sure to leave some white gaps. This will give us the effect that the tomato is shiny. So, just a little fewer of these gaps. In the center, they can just be a bit more pink. So we use more water and less pigment. In the center, just more water and less paint. And for the crust, we're mixing red, orange, and English red. Here it can certainly be a bit denser and darker. So here is this lovely little tomato. And basically, we do the same with each one. So once again, I've mixed red, orange, and English red. It creates a denser, more burgundy color. Along the edge of the tomato, I paint quite densely, leaving white gaps for highlights, the shiny spots on our tomato. And in the center of the tomato, I use more transparent shades. So here the color isn't as dark, more water, less pigment. Just like that. This way I create the effect of a tomato. That's it. We color each one like this. So here are the tomatoes I ended up with. They're all shiny and look great. And now we're going to color the basil. Just a reminder, I used two colors for the basil, yellow and dark green. Together they give me a beautiful, vibrant green color. And accordingly, that's how we'll paint. Wherever there's a basil leaf, I'll first apply a bit of yellow, then green. Once applied to paper, they'll blend and merge, creating beautiful and seamless color transitions. It's always beautiful in watercolor when two colors meet and start to interact. You don't necessarily have to pre-mix all of your colors on the palette every single time. Especially in watercolor sketching, you can blend colors directly on your artwork. I'm painting half the leaf yellow, then adding green. This creates a very beautiful effect. I really don't have any completely yellow leaves anywhere. That is, it's not like my basil is yellow. It's green, but with the yellow tint, it looks like it's shining, reflecting, and glowing in the sun. Or on the work surface under a lamp, depending on where the pizza's made. So, green here and green here. And here we have some more leaves. Here's another leaf. Without yellow, the leaves immediately look less lively. And here I blended a little so that it doesn't look like the leaf is split into two colors, into green and yellow. It's important that they seamlessly transition and blend softly into one another. This is called color diffusion. Just like that. I'll add a bit more here. It's right here. Let's add some green. And now we can take a look at where else we might want to add some strokes to create a greater sense of variety. Excellent. The leaves are all set. And now, to truly complete the artistic composition, we still need to scatter those beautifully toasted textures around. Not sure what this toasted bit is. Maybe the cheese just baked like that? I'll take some English red and just a touch of dark purple. This combination creates a beautiful golden brown color. I'll then use this particular shade to apply small, delicate dots and tiny specks, as these kinds of intricate details are present on the crust. And even inside the pizza itself, you can add small accents just like we did with the liner, or perhaps with a gel pen. With a brush, you can add all sorts of tasty little toasted bits. Maybe it's ketchup that's cooled down, or maybe it's some spices, or perhaps it's bits of meat. Well, anyway, I'm going to get hungry while I'm telling you all this. We just add all sorts of appetizing pieces with little brush strokes like this. And don't forget about this piece either. It's the most appetizing one, since it's the one we cut off. Since we're about to eat it now. There we go, perfect. That's much better. And the final touch. I want to make sure there's not just a pure white color here. I'll go over it very lightly with a warm yellow, but very transparently. Very transparently. Right there around the tomato, so that I get a bit of a dripping effect here. And so there isn't a sharp white spot instead of the mozzarella. That's why I'm going over it a little bit. By blending some shades, they'll merge beautifully and create smooth transitions. And it will look really appetizing. That's the kind of delicious effect we get. The colors blend together a little bit. It looks extremely tasty. A wonderful sketch, very tasty and appetizing. This sketch looks so appetizing, it makes me want to eat right away.